And I was fortunate enough to get cast in an independent film that was being made called All God's Creatures. And I have the production staff here today, and we're going to be talking about all the different levels of filmmaking, starting with development and also pre-production and finally production. And then we'll probably come back later and talk about post-production and distribution once they get that rolling. So, but I just want to please welcome all my guests. We have Matt Jared, producer.
Hello.
Josh Folan, producer, writer, and actor.
What up?
Frank Licata, co-director and cinematographer.
Hi.
And finally, Ray Charles, the co-director.
Ray Charles.
Ray Charles.
Out the world, huh? I'm already famous.
Oh no, that's James Brown. That's
He's
right.
not that artistic.
And finally, Brian Charles, the co-director and editor.
That would be me.
So how are you guys doing? God, it's been a while since I've seen you.
It's good, good.
Everybody, uh-huh. Still
lot
in
of
the
work.
throes of work?
Yeah, absolutely. We're on the tail end of post-production right now.
Uh-huh.
It's with the sound editor, so we'll probably have another month and a half, I think, realistically,
Uh-huh.
before we have a finished product.
Uh-huh. Very cool. Very cool. Well, listen, let's start with development. Firstly, a lot of people, I just thought this would be interesting because a lot of people, I was saying earlier, that a lot of people will walk into a movie theater and just start watching a movie and kind of like, oh, it just fell out of the sky this way. It takes so much to get it from an idea in your mind to actually being lit up across the screen, across the white screen. So firstly, I would say it's a long process, it's a difficult process, but it's often rewarding, of course. So what would be the best advice that you could offer someone before embarking on something like this?
Don't.
Be very patient.
Yes, yes.
I think preparation is key, and I think it's important to realize how long something like this is going to take.
Uh-huh.
Initially, Josh and I sat down about a year and a half ago, getting this whole process rolling, and I don't think I even began to imagine the fact that it would take us a year to make it happen, and then it was going to be another year until we actually saw some real results and some money
Right.
from this whole situation.
Uh-huh.
But I think part of the reason that we were able to do it, and we were able to do it at the budget we were, is that the level of pre-production that we put into it,
Uh-huh.
really spending as much time as possible making sure we had every spreadsheet you could possibly imagine, and every sort of possibility was accounted for. I think that's
Uh-huh.
probably one of our greatest strengths as a team, was also combining what each one of us does well and trying to bring that
Uh-huh.
on the table.
Uh-huh.
There you go, something like this.
Excellent. So getting a good team together would be your best advice.
Yeah, and not necessarily your best of friends. You know, you want to get
Right.
people that are going to butt heads occasionally and say, no, this is the better way
Sure.
to do it, so that you can continue to build on that.
Mhm.
Because I've worked with so many productions, especially on an amateur level, where it's a group of friends, and so it's nothing but yes men, and everybody's just, oh, that's
Yeah,
a great idea,
no.
da.
Yeah.
So
No,
when
we
it's
don't like
happening,
each other
it's
at all.
not-
We actually hate each other.
Yeah, that's why we work so well together.
Yeah.
But there is a truth to that. You know, we don't hate each other, but you know, we don't love each other like, you know, college roommates, and
Yeah,
so it's
right.
not that thing of like everything you do is magic.
Yeah,
But
right.
I think that's ended up why we found a little magic. We were able to create a little bit, you know.
Yeah, and it sounds like you also respect each other's knowledge on what positions you hold, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, there's plenty of times where we were dealing with passing it up to the sound editor. You know, Ryan would get back to me with an issue about whether or not it was ready and whether or not we should be working on the sound as is. And I'm like, Ryan, I have no idea. I don't know anything about sound. So you tell me.
Good call, Josh.
Yeah, I think, you know, for years as a filmmaker, it's always been, people can tell you, well, if you want to make movies, just do it. Just make the movie, just do it, just do it, just do it. And that's really, really true up to an extent.
Right.
And I think it's true up to the point where you're dealing with other people's money. And it's like, well, now you're making a movie with other people's money, so you shouldn't just rush in and do it. You really
Uh-huh.
should learn what to do first and then do it.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
with
true.
film, once you do it, it's too late. You don't get a
Yeah.
second
And
chance.
exactly, you have to take a moment, stop yourself, and say, what exactly are we all here? What are we doing?
And we did that over the course of a year and a half. I mean, we did a short webisodic webisode type pilot thing, Then we did just a series of little short video contests from 30 seconds to a minute long.
Mhm.
It's like 4 or 5 in a row, just producing them just to kind of, work together and get the juices flowing. And then finally, after all that time, we were able to scratch the money together, get the script ready, and
Uh-huh.
we're ready to shoot. But
Yeah.
it certainly was a long, long preparation process.
But there
Uh-huh.
certainly was an element of just do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There were so many stumbling blocks that we hit along the way.
Oh, I'm
Losing
sure.
locations and people quitting and et cetera,
Uh-huh.
et cetera. But it just didn't matter. Like, it did not matter. We were
Uh-huh.
going to shoot a feature film.
Excellent.
And it didn't matter what the budget was, and it didn't matter how it was going to happen.
Mhm.
Josh and I made a clear decision that we were going to shoot a feature film.
Mhm.
And, thankfully a few things did happen that set us off in different directions that we never would have expected. Like, we ended up having to postpone principal photography by 2 weeks. But had we not done that, we would have been caught in one of the worst storms that New York
Right.
had had in years.
Uh-huh.
And there
Yeah.
were all sorts of little things like that where you're sort of like, boy, the film gods
Yeah,
are
right.
smiling upon us. But because of that, it was like that same thing. It was like, well, they're smiling, so keep working, keep going,
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah,
And I think
exactly.
that sort of that blind mentality of like, we're going to shoot a fucking film, and I don't care.
Yes, right.
That got us to do it.
You get in the zone.
Because if
Definitely.
had we waited for it to be perfect and to found the right actor to play John,
Yeah, right.
and it was just like, well, Josh wrote the script, and Josh is going to be the cheapest actor. So I'm not going to pay him a dime. So
Yeah.
there we go. We've got our remake. We could have searched forever.
We don't
and
have to
I think
feed,
so
we don't have
do.
to feed him.
No feeding, no housing, no transportation. Can he speak English? He's cast.